Happy Sunday, everyone. I hope you are enjoying the first week of football. I certainly am. I just finished watching the Washington Commanders game, and they found a way to win, which was very surprising to me, but I'll take what I can get. But today is also the 21st anniversary of 9/11, and it's really weird to think about that. Right now, today, there are kids who are old enough to go to the bar who were not alive on 9/11. And for the rest of us, that's a reminder of just how old we are. Myself, when I was 18, I was working in the disaster accounting department at the Red Cross in Fairfax, Virginia. So as you can imagine, that was a horrific day for everyone, but business definitely picked up as we mobilized to help people in need up in New York. But when I look back on that day, I also think about how things change within our society as far as the laws and some of the changes in the intelligence community, the FBI, and what we kind of lost because of 9/11. And one person that constantly brings up our civil liberties was Ron Paul. Now, for some people, Ron Paul was a little grating. He always repeated the same thing, pounding on about civil liberties and libertarianism ad nauseum, which he should have because he believed in it. But looking back now, it really shows that he was onto something and that he warned us of what was to come if we continue to allow the government to erode our rights, infringe on the Fourth Amendment, that we were slowly giving up our right to privacy in our homes, not to be observed by the government, and that we were opening ourselves up to unreasonable searches and seizures that the Fourth Amendment was supposed to prevent. Now, the reason we have that amendment was that during the time when we were under English rule, they would, if they suspected a colonist of something, have a general warrant to go into that person's house, search everywhere and everything, and take what they wanted. And so our framers of the Constitution said, you know what? That's no good. We need to have people secure in their property, in their homes, and if the government decides that there is a cause to search your home, they need probable cause, and they need to specify exactly what they are looking for and what they want to take. So in 2011, Ron Paul spoke in front of Congress. This is a very short clip, but he talks about not only the Fourth Amendment, but also the FISA court and how that was the start of us losing our Fourth Amendment rights. Check out this clip.
Mr. Speaker, I rise in opposition to this bill. I was opposed to the Patriot Act in 2001 and do not believe now that it's a good idea to extend it. The Fourth Amendment is rather clear. It says that we should be secure in our papers, our persons, our homes, and our effects. And that if warrants are to be issued, we have to do it with probable cause and describe in particular the places, the people, and the things that we're going to look at. And I think what has happened, though, over the years has been that we have diluted the Fourth Amendment. It was greatly diluted in 2001, but it started a lot earlier than that. When the FISA law was originally written in 1978, that really introduced the notion that the Fourth Amendment was relative and not absolute.
Now, he mentions the FISA court again, and one thing that I find really funny is that Merrick Garland, the head of the DOJ, he chastised people for criticizing the FBI and made it seem that we were so out of bounds to even think that there might be any sort of corruption within the FBI. But when we look at Donald Trump and the actions taken against him, let's start with the FISA court. We know now that the FISA warrant was granted in part because of a dossier that was patently garbage, and at the time, the FBI knew it. And secondly, there was an FBI lawyer who lied about Carter Page's relationship with the CIA, and he fudged it. And because of this and this dossier, this FISA warrant was granted, and Donald Trump's Fourth Amendment rights were violated. So we have on record, this is not a right-wing conspiracy, we have the FBI falsifying information and lying in order to violate someone's rights, and not just anybody, but a presidential candidate. So when Merrick Garland gets all high and mighty about people criticizing the FBI, I say, well, let's look at your track record. And it sucks. We have every right to. And so now we have the Mar-a-Lago raid. And if you look at the warrant, at the affidavit, they said that there were 15 boxes they wanted to look at and collect because they said they contained certain documents. Yet, for some reason, they also seized not just these records, but they took Donald Trump's tax returns, his medical records. And if you think to yourself, why would they take his medical records? Now they'll say, okay, we took them and we're going to return them, no harm, no foul. But do you think when they opened up that box and saw those medical records, they said, oops, this was the wrong box. I'm going to go ahead and close it and not rifle through it to see what's in there? There's a reason why we have the right to privacy as concerns our medical records and history, because there are things in there that perhaps we want to keep to ourselves. Now, I'm not implying that there's anything bad within those records, but you can be damn sure the FBI, when they seized them, made sure to rifle through them to see what was there. And of course, the same thing with his tax returns. So why did the FBI ever seize these in the first place? Was Donald Trump's Fourth Amendment rights violated? And secondly, think about where they were looking. It says under the Fourth Amendment, you need to specify exactly where you want to look and for what reason. So going through his storage, I understand that, perhaps even his office. But why were the FBI agents going through Melania's closet? So we have these two actions against Trump, the FISA and now this Mar-a-Lago raid. What happened to our Fourth Amendment and our constitutional rights? Now, one argument that will be made by people on the left, people who are establishment, some of these prosecutors on TV, lawyers, they will argue that there was a legal right to do this, ignoring the fact that it is actually unconstitutional. And this is where you get into the weeds. There are plenty of things that our government does, and they are shielded by the legal system, that are blatantly unconstitutional. And I think this is one of our biggest issues, is that the Supreme Court, our legal system, has not properly reined in the actions of our federal government. God knows the behavior of the CIA and the NSA is ridiculous, and I'm sure, and they're documented, so many violations of the Constitution, spying on people illegally, data mining, taking information. We had James Clapper go in front of Congress and lie about the information that is collected on American citizens. So just because something's unconstitutional doesn't mean that our government isn't doing it, that they aren't participating in this behavior. And this is, again, why what the Democrats really focus on, some of the semantics and some of this, well, no one stopped it yet, it must be legal. Just like saying, well, Hunter Biden was never indicted, so he must not have committed a crime, despite the fact that we all saw him on camera smoking crack with prostitutes and talking about all of his shady business dealings. He never committed a crime. So this is the game we're playing. We know what's illegal, we know what's unconstitutional, but that doesn't mean that it is treated that way. What is the law? The law is what the people in power enforce, not what's actually written on the books. Take that to the bank. And that's why we, on the right, people who respect the law, have to get back in these positions of power so we can properly enforce the law. And until we do, we are going to be facing unconstitutional raids, searches, and seizures by our federal government that is completely out of control. Well, that's it for now. Again, thank you for joining me. If you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe. I'll see you next time.